Welcome back. If you live in the Niger Delta region, this is literally a recurrent decimal. It keeps happening about fires, spillage, issues of busting of pipelines, whether by mechanical error or vandals. It keeps happening. So there was a fire outbreak at two flow stations within the Carlton Channel in Bonny local government area, raising concern about the safety of the people and the aquatic world, if you will. The means of livelihood of the people have been distorted for many years. You can remember the Ogoni incident. So our job is, when this happens, we'll bring you up to speed as to what is really happening from the witnesses' mouth and some of the interventionist agencies as to what they are doing, to at least bring some relief to the people. That's why I've been joined in the program by the Director, Ecological Think Tank, HOMEF, a member steering committee of Oil Watch International. Is also co-recipient 2010 Right Livelihood Award. Nemo Basi joining us from Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. Also joining us is Omoni Longjo, Long John's two-time vice chairman of Bonny local government and former secretary in Bonny local government area. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Moni, let's start with you. Maybe you give us an account of exactly what happened and what you know is the state of things as far as this outbreak at the flow station is concerned. That can help us lay proper background to the conversation.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, viewers. I think at exactly 2 p.m. on Wednesday, 9th February, we received a report of a fire outbreak around the flow station at Carlton Channel. That flow station is being operated by NNPC. And we sent our people, our Marine Safety Committee of the local government to go and assess the situation. Unfortunately, we don't have any marine fire fighting equipment at the moment. So they went there and they discovered that it was actually a barge, two barges transloading equipment or product to a bigger vessel that somehow started the fire, and it flew to the larger barge, and somehow they were able to manage the situation, push out the barge to float while burning on the creeks. The pictures are there on the internet for all to see. I guess that's exactly what happened. Luckily, there is no confirmed loss of life, either from the company or the community. But so far, due to the high level of hydrocarbons emitted from the fire, the environment has been devastated. And the villages and communities around there, their source of drinking water has been contaminated. We are waiting for a combined joint investigation team from the company and the community to make an assessment of the situation. So far, as at last night, I understand the fire has been completely put off. That's the current situation now.
So let's take it to Mr. Basi. Mr. Basi, fortunately, you're from the Niger Delta, seeing that you're from Akwa Ibom. So this has been a recurrent decimal, as I mentioned in my opening. And yet again, we do not know to what extent people are compensated or their lives are even restored. I think for some people, what do you think? When these things happen, what do you think the people really want to happen? Is it compensation or restoration of the environment so that they're not a charity case trying to survive?
Thank you so much for framing that question so appropriately. Whenever there is an oil spill or some other kind of environmental infringements in the Niger Delta, the first thing the oil companies and the government actually think about is palliatives. Palliative has become a very sad response to critical situations in our country. So the real thing that the people want is a clean environment, which means that seeing that over 15 million barrels of crude oil have been spilled into the Niger Delta over the years, what the people really want is remediation, the cleanup, restoration, and also reparation. At the end of the line, people want to be compensated for the losses. But that is at the end. Of course, people need palliative, they need some relief material, but that could only solve very much peripheral problem of the people. For years of pollution, we've been seeing these blowouts and accidents happening, and always I'm happy that we see that in this case, it wasn't vandalism, it wasn't a kind of infringement by a third party, because sometimes all the blame is put on the on the victims, on the local communities. This was actually a case of mismanagement of facilities. In that particular area, we've seen very significant blowouts in the past, like one that happened on 10th July 2022, where in the area managed by Aeroton Exploration and Production Company. We also remember what happened at Santa Barbara in November 2021. They blew out oil well at OML 29 that lasted for 6 weeks before it was stopped. We're happy that this particular one was stopped very quickly. But in all these cases, we never hear of a cleanup. We didn't hear of cleanup in case of the Santa Barbara. We have not heard of cleanup anywhere at all. The only cleanup that is more or less significant is what is being attempted at Ogonila. So it's been a very sad situation. People are losing their livelihoods. Fisheries are being disturbed. They are destroyed. Farmlands are polluted. Everything. The people are just left in total misery. And this has to stop.
Let's go to Honorable Long John. And as much as this is really concerning and we need to fix this, I want to take a step back a little bit. And I'm hoping this will not be academic in nature. When you look at the whole sector, the wealth beneath the ground or the sea, as the case may be, and how it's been used time and again, would you say it has been a blessing or a curse to the Niger Delta, the nation at large?
You know, petroleum. Sorry, do I take that?
Yes, please. That's for you, Mr. Longton.
Okay, thank you. The oil has damaged Nigeria. Let me put it that way. It has damaged our politics because politicians struggle to control the oil to get oil fields. It has destroyed local economies. It has destroyed our infrastructure, destroyed our culture, even affected our spirituality. Before oil, we had good infrastructure. We had good educational system. We had good medical. Everything was, I'm not being nostalgic about the past, but things were working and our regions were really, really productive. Either palm oil in the east, rubber in the Midwest, cocoa in the west, cotton and groundnut in the north. We had regions that were really productive. Today, oil has turned our politicians to people who just sit around tables sharing resources. And now we forget that what has happened in the Niger Delta is not something that we can correct in 1 year. We can't even correct in one lifetime. And we've not started correcting it. We're talking about balancing the budget all the time. All the budgets are based on the price of crude oil. So you look at the oil as just a revenue generation, you forget about the livelihoods and the lives it's destroying. So I think we have to get a mind reset about what is really valuable in Nigeria and what is helpful and where we should put our energy in. And I want to suggest this free of charge.
So blessing or curse, Mr. Bassi, before I go to Mr. Long John now, blessing or curse?
Blessing or curse, I don't really like answering that way.
I will actually say it's both a blessing and a curse to the Niger Delta people. The blessing, if you're looking at the larger picture, for the Nigerian government, the Nigerian people, because it's been the main source of revenue in the past decades. However, the people of the Niger Delta have not enjoyed adequate caring, considering the environmental degradation that is associated with oil production. The people have suffered more. If you look at all the Niger Delta areas, the people still live in swampy communities, and nothing has been done to link these areas to the main land and state capital. For instance, if you look at the Curtain Channel now, the communities there mainly owned by the polling chieftaincy house of Bonny. The people don't have a good source of drinking water. They manage their boreholes. And when this oil spillage and from the fire and the hydrocarbons now spill into their source of both fishing and drinking water, you leave the people devastated. Moreover, these islands are cut off from the mainland. To get to the nearest community there, it's about 20 minutes speedboat drive from Bonny Island. So you can see that even Bonny as a whole is still struggling to get a road from Port Harcourt or any other place. It's cut off from every other area. Yet it has the biggest oil and gas terminal, it has the LNG, it has Mobile, it has all the IOCs here in Bonny. But they are not enjoying adequate proceeds from oil exploration. The burning of the hydrocarbons in the air, the people breathe in this contaminated air. Yet the resources from this goes to the federal government directly, not even the states. It goes to the federal government.
Honorable Long John, I'm going to stay with you for a bit for good reason. And, this poser is not necessarily absolving the oil companies of blame in what seems to be the continuing challenge of oil spill that has plagued the Niger Delta area of the country. But data from NOSDRA, that's the Oil Spill Detection Agency, says that between 2012 and 2021, 8,819 oil spills were reported in the Niger Delta, and a large chunk of these oil spills are attributed to vandalism, crude oil theft, rather than equipment going faulty, equipment belonging to these oil companies. Where does this leave the continuing argument between who takes responsibility? Is it the people of the community or the oil companies, particularly if it has to do with vandalism and crude oil theft rather than equipment damage?
Recently, the NNPC, for instance, has been if I say, I can call it reformatted, in such a way that there is more accountability. Before now, as an ordinary citizen, you wouldn't know which pipeline has product without an insider from the company informing those outside. So if you want to pass the blame, those who are operating these oil companies, they collaborate both with the people outside who do the damages and themselves inside. But at the end of the day, those who suffer are the communities, the ordinary man, the ordinary woman, the child growing up. These are the problems. So it's not a matter of apportioning blame. If they take responsibility for their actions,
but Mr. Long John,
in charge.
But Mr.
Yes.
Long John, they can only collaborate with the people that know the terrain, i.e. the people of the community.
Exactly. And that is why in all their undertakings, they must involve the community. It is a must, but somehow they find a way to bypass the community persons, either in terms of their staffs, in terms of their contractors, and they bring in people who are not community persons. And this makes the interest of the community to be jeopardized. That's the situation, and that's the reality on ground. If the community peoples are carried along in line with all the extant laws which are already there, from contractors to employment to everything, the quotas have been spelled out, but they wouldn't do it. and they will come up with excuses. We as government and the grassroots closest to the people, we know what we go through to simmer the anger from the community. We always go the extra miles to ensure that our people remain quiet. Niger Delta people are peaceful people. A lot of other tribes will not endure what the Niger Delta people go through in the face of so much resources and being deprived. Channel CV has gone around so many times to see for themselves first class information on the state of affairs of the people living in the Niger Delta area. Is it in transportation? Is it in their schools? Is it in the healthcare sector? But we do our best. For us, for instance, presently, a lot of people in Bonny are saying the NLND Train 7 is a cost to us than a blessing.
So whatever.
If you ask anybody, I am a government official. I know how we manage these situations, but sometimes we have to say the things the way they are.
And so whatever the case, the environmental degradation is evident and the suffering of the people of the Niger Delta continues. Let me come to you, Mr. Bassi. Perhaps you have some other reactions, to either support or oppose what Mr. Longjohn has said. But who should we be asking about the need for regular integrity checks on the pipelines and the valves of these oil companies? Because besides this one we're talking about in Bonny, there has been an NNPC wellhead leak. There's also been one belonging to the NPDC. So who should we be asking about these questions, about these exposed pipelines, these burst pipelines, about the need for regular maintenance?
Thank you. Well, the basic challenge and the basic area we should point our fingers to is the regulatory agencies. It's the job of the government to demand that oil companies stop misbehaviors in the Niger Delta. Every pipeline has a lifespan, just like every oil well. The first oil well that was drilled in 1956 was abandoned in the 1970s. So many other oil wells around that area, but they're still polluting the environment. And now we just keep a blind eye. The government keeps a blind eye to that. The government may be the higher shareholder in the entire arrangement, but the oil companies are the ones calling the shot. And the regulators should hold them to account. Because as Honorable Longjohn said, the people have been extremely peaceful. If you look at the extent of pollution, look at the Bayelsa State Oil and Environment Commission report that was issued in 2023. That report entitled Environmental Genocide, that title is so significant, showed that in the waters of Bayelsa State, hydrocarbon pollution is at a level 1 million times above safe standards. And in Ogoni, we have benzene in drinking water, that's the borehole the people depend on, 900 times above World Health Standard. In Bonny is the same challenge. All the water bodies, the people are living very dangerously. That's why the lifespan in the region is about 41 years. I mean, it's so far below the national average. And government has to wake up to her responsibility. Hold the oil companies to account. Hold the NNPC to account. Whoever is operating the region, they should maintain integrity of their facilities. And of course, keep to these international standards. And the oil wells that have been abandoned are also a threat to the region. There are many abandoned, they need to be decommissioned and the environment restored. And that spreads around the entire Niger Delta. And some of them have started blowing up. And those are time bombs that are waiting to blow up. And action should be taken on them.
All right. It's an ongoing conversation, apparently. Sometimes when I wish it will not happen again. But it's hard to say it won't happen again because I don't know. All hands must be on deck to solve this problem once and for all. So our concern It's not just about the IOCs or the government. It's about the people that are being impacted, who sometimes will be forced to move out of the environment because of pollution and all of this. And this has to be the interest of government to protect the people. Nimo Bassi is the director of ecological think tank, HOMEF, a member steering committee of Oil Watch International, co-recipient of 2010 Right Livelihood Award, who joined us from Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. Also joining us, Omoni Long John is a two-time vice chairman of Bonny Local Government and the Secretary of State of Bonny Local Government. He's also the head of Ogbulu Long John Community and Wario Pusanibon of Chief Long John Major House of Grand Bonny Kingdom. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For having us. Thank you.